everybody, it's Romania Black, and we're on episode 42 of Monster, and I love Grimmer! I love Grimmer so much. I'm glad that now that this episode is getting, like, the past episodes are getting over to Patreon and YouTube, that people love Grimmer too, because I was like, dude, does everybody else love him? Because I'm like, oh, and so many people on Patreon, when episode 40 came out, they were like, we've been waiting for you to get to this episode and to Grimmer's character for months. And I'm like, really? So I'm really excited. That has me very excited for Grimmer's character. Hopefully he doesn't die a very premature death. Because I love his character so far. I really do. I'm so excited about Grimmer. He is such a fun character. He's a great... there was a really cool... I think it was Alex Cornejo made this comparison. It's a really cool comparison because I'm watching Trigun at the same time. And in Trigun, without spoiling anything, there's a character, the main character's Vash, and then you meet this character Wolfwood. He's like in every piece of fan art media, official media possible. But Wolfwood is like... my dogs. Wolfwood is like the cohort of Vash. They're like buddies. And so I feel like that's kind of what Grimmer is to Tenma. And I'm hoping, and there's a lot of similarities because, you know, in the first episode where Vash and Wolfwood meet, it's like Grimmer and Tenma meet and then they go their separate ways. And without spoiling anything, in Trigun certain things happen, and I don't know if that's what's going to happen with Grimmer's character and Tenma, but I'm really, really excited and hopeful. I would love for Grimmer and Tenma to meet back up, because I feel like Tenma's in a very bad place right now. He thinks he's a murderer. He thinks that he can't be a doctor anymore. He's in a very grim place. And I feel like someone named Grimmer could be maybe ironically like a beacon of light for him, because Tenma's been the beacon of light for so many people in this series that sometimes I think it's important to realize that characters that are beacons of light for, it's sort of like in My Hero Academia, there's the argument of, well, who saves the heroes, right? So who is going to be Tenma's beacon of light when he has his dark moments? And so far, with the exception of Grimmer, and maybe Nina, we've not really seen any character that can do that. So at least not to that extent. So I'm hoping that Grimmer and Tenma become better friends. I hope they get to see each other again. But last episode, poor Grimmer, he made an assumption and it was wrong. And it was like, oof. But here's the thing, I think Grimmer is not going to be deterred by what happens like Tenma would be. I think if that thing had happened to Tenma, he would have like spiraled. But I don't think Grimmer is going to. I think Grimmer is going to get more intrigued and want to get more invested, because honestly, whoever killed Petrov was going to kill him anyway, right? Was already on the agenda. So what do we do with that? And what Grimmer just kind of seems to have stumbled in the middle of something that he's like, okay, well now a freelance journalist that stumbles in the middle of a situation like this, he's not just going to leave. Oh no. So I'm very curious to know what's going to happen and how things are going to go down, but I'm really super excited. Very, very excited to see what's going to happen. And hopefully my old doggy dogs will be nice. I don't know where anything is. They keep putting toys over here and they're gone. So you guys need to go lay down and be good. Thank you. They're so persistent, but they're like lungays, little lungays running around. So yeah. Anyway, I'm excited, y'all. I hope you all are too, but we're not going to waste any more time. I want to give a very quick shout out over to Patreon, to our philanthropy tier, for y'all supporting me. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you all so much. Especially all those on Patreon and YouTube. You guys supporting me in general is amazing. But I really, really appreciate the philanthropy tier for giving that extra amount each month. Y'all don't have to, but I am super, super grateful. So shout out to these wonderful lovelies, to Edgar, to Dana, to Alex Cornejo, to Be Happy, to Kiri, to Librarian of Lang, to Shimoyama, to Nameless Monster, to Natalia Zaharia, to Modern Amethyst, to Tyrone, to Anime Annie, to Eric, to Kubalutek, to Translucent Men, to Sunspots, Anna Legatus, and then also Goob. So yes, very excited, very happy, but you know, we're not going to waste any more time. We're going to dive into this episode and see what we get. So we are going to start episode 42 of Monster, and we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's turn the sound on, of course, right? Make sure that's on, and let's go. I'm going to be real with y'all. I don't know how long this discussion's going to be, because 70% of the episode was Romania Black going, no, not the nails! I I have two body parts that I don't want touched, and that is my nails and my eyes. And anytime somebody does something with the eyes or the nails, it is like, ugh. I actually had like a toenail ripped out once, and it was the grossest thing ever. And I was like, nope, never again. And I hate touching my eyes. And so I was like, nope, if you want a gross Romania Black out, I can watch somebody's guts come out. I can watch like open heart surgery. But you show me somebody ripping out nails or gouging their eyes out, and it's like, it's done. We're done with it. And so the whole time I was like trying to read the subtitles, but also freaking out. And so I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry if you were just like, calm the frick down, girl. I was like, I can't. That's my like one like, nope, don't do it. And man, God, Grimmer. I'm glad he's not dead, because I was really, this is what this show does to you. It makes you wonder, because it's not afraid to kill characters after they've been in the show for 2 episodes. I know Richard. I was all about Richard's character, and he only made it like 4 episodes, and I was like, why? Why'd you give us this amazing character and then take him away from us? So ever since then, I've been like, it makes the stakes of the show very real, because sure, I mean, let's be honest, we knew back in the library that Tenma was not going to shoot Johan. Like, that was probably not going to happen. It would have been a crazy twist, and I would have been like, okay, I was prepared to be surprised, but I was like 80% sure that Johan was not going to get shot. So, I mean, like, Johan and Tenma, we know they're in game. We know they're making it to the end of the series, more than likely, especially Tenma. Tenma definitely is. Johan will likely as well. So we know that those two are pretty much safe as far as physically. Now, mentally, could be a totally different story. But physically, they're not getting hurt. Not mortally wounded, right? But Nina, we don't know. I'm assuming Nina's going to be in game as well, but I don't know that for sure. Dieter, I'm constantly in a state of worry about, because he's a kid, and you'd think, oh, well, this show's not going to kill kids. I'm like, they were falling from buildings like snowballs like a few episodes ago. So yes, no, I believe this mangaka would kill children 100%, because it's very grounded in realism. And so I'm worried about Dieter all the time, worried about Rudy, worried about Reichwein. I'm worried about Grimmer. I'm like constantly, and that's kind of the good thing about the show, is that it does not let you feel comfortable in thinking, oh, these characters are going to make it to the end. No, I mean, the ultimate irony is going to be that Lunge is going to make it to the end. That's going to be the ultimate irony, is he makes it to the end. And probably Eva, Eva probably too. Although I have no clue what she would do at this point in the story. You would think she's out of the picture, but she's an old flame, and she's been there from the start, so narratively, she needs to come back in at some point, but we don't know what. And she knows Johan. She knows what Johan looks like. So Eva will have to eventually surface back again, but we've got like 30 episodes for that to happen, right? So I was really worried about Grimmer in this episode, because I was like, he could actually die. And then it's just one more loose end, like, because everybody that's gotten close to Johan or figuring something out has met an unfortunate end. The only thing I was thinking about in this episode is that Grimmer has not heard the tape yet. I'm like, I'm waiting for this show after this episode. I'm waiting for this show to let Grimmer hear the tape, and then something bad's going to happen, and nobody's going to find out. But we, the audience, will know what was on the tape, and no one else will ever find out. That's what I'm waiting to happen now, but maybe not. We'll talk about Grimmer, the Magnificent Steiner, and about the woman. That's not Nina. No, she looks like Nina, because I think that's the mom. That's Johan and Nina's mom. And, I mean, if she was in her 40s, Nina and Johan are 20, 21. If she had them when she was 17 or 18, she'd be in her, her early 40s. I'm like getting close to 40. So the fact that she could look young, yeah, it's definitely a thing that could be. I mean, I'm still far enough away from 40, but still, it's very possible. So I'm like, for her to look like that and be in her early 40s, no, it could be a thing for sure. So I think that's Johan's mom. The question is, why was she there? Did she follow Grimmer too because she wants to know? I have theories about her and I think she wants to work with Grimmer for reasons, and I want to get to that point too where she shows up. But man, she is chilling. The fact that she just shot that guy through the head and was like, done. I was like, ooh. I'm so curious, right? I'm like, your daughter doesn't have your aim. That's for damn sure. But yeah, we need to go through this episode. So I am glad that the episode did not grace us with sobbing children throughout this. I honestly had some expectations of how the children would react to Grimmer. I'm glad I was proven wrong. I have theories about what he gave the child. Now, I think he gave the one child the key so that he wouldn't, if he was followed or captured, he would technically not have the key on him, so there would be no way for them to take it. I think he gave the kid the key with the intention of going back and getting it back from him, because he knew what nursery they were going to. He heard the guy say it, so he could go find them, right? And I feel like that's the case, but we'll see. So apparently there is this key and number card, right? The idea is that there's this key and this number card that is a code for a safe deposit box. Like, there are layers to this, right? A safe deposit box, and inside is a tape that was recorded of Johann in a drugged state. Now, going back to this, the tape and what they want, like, how do they not know that it's Johann? Do they not know his name? Do they not know? We need to go through this because it seems like there's some missing information for different parties. That I want to go back to Wolf and Baby's group, okay? And we're going to put them over here. That we have Wolf and Baby's group. And that Wolf and Baby and their group of folks, they knew who Johann was. They knew Johann's name as well as his origin. Because Wolf was the guy that was the director of Kinderheim at the time. So they know his origin, and they wanted him to basically create this like neo-Nazi organization and be the leader for it, right? Which Tenma was like, that's not gonna work. Johann doesn't care about any of you, so why would you even think that could be a thing? And Baby took offense to that because he was like, what do you mean? And so, but they knew who Johann was, they knew his origin, and they were basically trying to get Nina, oh, there went my marker, losing my marker all the time. And they were luring Nina to get him there because they thought that he wanted Nina, which he did. Now, interestingly enough, or so we think. Interestingly enough, we thought that he wanted Nina this whole time and he was trying to get to her. He was at Heidelberg, but then he gave up. The weird thing is Johann like gets these ideas and starts to go through with them, and then at the last minute goes, nah, I changed my mind. So it's like he wanted to lure Nina there, but then he changed his mind. He wanted to kill Schubert and do things with him, and then he changed his mind. And so it's just like on a whim, Johann's like, I don't care anymore. And so it makes it very hard to predict what he's going to do because he just up and changes his mind about what he's going to do. And it's very hard to track him, right? So again, they say that it is the tape in the safe deposit box. And Grimmer's like, what tape? He says it's an interview with a certain young boy who led Kinderheim to destruction. But he doesn't say his name, right? He doesn't say it's Johann. And Grimmer's like, I want to know who this is. What is fascinating, and we need to put Grimmer down here, is that we don't know Grimmer's motivation still. We think that like the why is connected to his son, but that's a big old mystery question mark. Because I mean, Zeman makes a good point. He's like, why do you care so much? It's not so, I love he's just like, you're not a social justice warrior. They don't go this far. And he's like, you're not trying to get the tape to like get to Johann yourself. Grimmer doesn't even know who he is, but doesn't even know his name, or so we think. But he's like, why do you care so much? Why would you go this far to satisfy this curiosity? It's got kind of an, if you're talking about Attack on Titan, it has kind of an Erwin vibe. Like, Grimmer has kind of an Erwin vibe, which is probably why I like his character even more, because I love Erwin. But in Attack on Titan, without spoiling anything, Erwin is a character that has a very distinct dream. And everything that he does is for that dream. And he is willing to do whatever it takes to accomplish the dream that he has. And to a fault, right? And it almost seems like Grimmer is in the same boat as Erwin. He has a mission. He has a dream. He's trying to, if it's to get vengeance on his son, to get vengeance for his death. The fact that he brought up a kid's show is, again, tying the fact that he was very close, so we think, to his son. And his son's death is a big deal to him. He just kind of brushed it off to Tenma because he didn't want to, expose any vulnerability. But everything he said, the way he's acting around the kids, the way he brings up the kids show, everything that he kind of does in his mannerisms suggests that he really was maybe, and the irony is maybe he was a shit dad. Maybe that he was a terrible dad. We don't know. And his kid died and he realized the errors of his ways. And so he's made, adjustments to try to be a good man towards kids. Maybe that's it. Maybe he saw something in Petrov that he sees in himself. We don't know. But we don't know that yet. But I feel like the son is the reason why he's so dedicated to Kinderheim and to this case. I don't think it's clear Tenma's name. No. I don't think it's to discover things about Johann. No. It's directly tied to Kinderheim, which is kind of the crazy thing because you have Tenma, you have Richard, you have Lunge, and you have Grimmer. And they were all kind of interested in Kinderheim, in Johann, and the crimes surrounding them in different capacities, right? Like Tenma obviously cares about Johann, and Grimmer cares about Kinderheim, and Lunge cares about the crimes surrounding the entire thing, and Richard was kind of interested in the crimes surrounding the thing. So it's fascinating, right, to see how these characters kind of all kind of gravitate around this same situation, but from different angles. So yeah, because I don't think Tenma really cares about Kinderheim. All he cares about is that Johann came from there, and he wants to know more about Johann. So we'll get past this OP and get back to this. The Adventures of the Magnificent. Now, here's my thing about Grimmer. Grimmer talked about the story of Steiner the Magnificent, who could do all these things. My thing is, I think that Grimmer was not only a spy, I think he was a hitman for hire. I think he was and when I say every man, not every man is a lay person. Every man is like, I will do whatever the government agency tells me to do. And if it means interrogate people, I'll interrogate. If it means finding information, it means finding information. If it means killing people, it means killing people. I feel like Grimmer was the go-to guy of, you do all of these things for our country and you don't ask questions. I feel that's what he did. I feel like Grimmer's like a Swiss Army knife of things that he's been doing. And that's kind of the tale of the Magnificent. Like, he could do all these legendary things because he wasn't afraid to kill people and do whatever needed to happen to get the job done. And then now he's just kind of like, I'm just a freelance guy, and now I'm a man. He's like Liam Neeson. He's a man of many skills. He's a man with a skill set, right? And I feel like his kid's death is what maybe threw him over the edge. And he's just trying to get resolution with his son's death. But we don't know. The Adventures of the Magnificent. Oh, man. When we get to this chapter of the manga, I'm just going to have to skip over it. Be like, nope, can't do it. Can't do it. Chapter 42. Oh, my God. But yeah, so then we have the Prague police station. Prague is a shady-ass place. I'm just saying. It is shady as hell. At least in the 1990s. I feel like, well, you know what? I feel like how I feel about Prague is probably how most of the world feels about America. So you're not wrong. So yeah, it's funny. It's funny. I mean, it's not all bad, right? That's really hilarious. But Zeman is here. Felice Zeman. Everything about Zeman, we talk about parallels to Grimmer. Everything about him and his interrogation style, it was just unnerving from the start, and it just kept getting more unnerving. Like, he definitely is a man that was talented in interrogation and torture. But the idea you don't see him at first, that he's under the desk, seemingly grabbing the nail clippers. Mm-hmm. The fact that you see that of him at first, and then he pops up, it almost leads you to believe like he was waiting for Grimmer to come in, and maybe if he talked to the guy about something, and then that was it, he could hear or eavesdrop on that conversation. And then just the nail clippers. They were so unnerving the entire time. He's like, oh, Philippe, where are you, Inspector? And then he says, oh, I'm right here. And he comes across as being this big teddy bear. And he's like, this person was the first one at the murder scene yesterday. So, and he's like, oh, well, Mr. Grimmer, is it? And he looks very pleasant, right? He looks like he's somebody that, you just sit down and have a cup of hot cocoa with. No, it's those type of people you got to worry about, right? He's like, sorry for making you stay all night to come over here. I dropped my nail clipper under the desk. When he started trimming the nails at the moment, like, it just, that was unnerving in itself. I was like, dude, you have company, put the nail trimmer away. But it was all an interrogation tactic. Like, he didn't do it like a metronome. He did it out of sync and constant, where it was just like, it was grating, it was irritating. And it almost seemed like a tactic to, one, make people that didn't know anything immediately want to leave. Like, they just wanted to give up everything and go. Like, if they were trying to pry or find information from Zeman, that nail clipping would make you instantly want to go, never mind, I just want to get out of here, thanks, bye, forget I even asked, not interested. Or if people knew something, it would throw you off, it would make you uncomfortable. Like, it was just meant to throw you off your groove, and it was so disturbing. And then he points out he's as big as Grimmer. I'm glad that people are acknowledging that Grimmer's a big guy. He is. He's like probably 6'4", 6'3", 6'4", and he's just a big dude. And Zeman is bigger. He's tall as him, and he's bigger around. He's like, I'm in charge of the investigation. And so, I mean, it should be established that Grimmer is strong because, like I said in previous episodes, he's carrying around a bag of books. That is freaking heavy. Like, carrying around a bag of books like that all day, you would be strong as hell, right? And so he says, go ahead. And he's like, my wife's so annoying. It's very interesting how Roberto and Zeman, they all use their wives as examples of why they do the things that they do. They kind of use them as scapegoats, being like, my wife's so annoying, she wants me to clip my nails, and that's not the reason. And Roberto's like, oh, my wife's like this, so that's why I do this, and that's not the reason. So it's interesting to see how they kind of pass that off, oddly enough. And Grimmer's just like, what the hell? She doesn't let me show any white parts that stick out. I have to cut them down to the quick. If you've ever cut your nails down to the quick, it's not comfortable. It's not good. And he's like, I never thought. And he's like, you're a freelance journalist. Do you know his whole history? Mihail Ivanovich Petrov, which is a fake name for Reinhard Biermann, a German. And so, what a mugshot. Like, he has a horrible mugshot. And so he says, after the unification, he was charged with counts of human rights violations, internment, and child abuse. Which, you know, we were talking in the reaction of last episode and this one, like, oh, well, he kind of changed his tune and was a better man. It still sucks that if he was involved with child abuse, it's not a good look, sir. Not a good look at all. And then he says, after the Berlin Wall fell, he fled here to the Czech Republic to get out. And so he's like, the Germans wanted him arrested, but the Czech Republic authorities left him alone and kept him under surveillance. So there's part of the reason why, like, they suspect, you know, Grimmer, because they're like, you were around, you were there for quite some time. Did he really not say anything? So in the Czech Republic, they had Petrov, I know it's Biermann, but I'm going to keep calling him Petrov, under surveillance. So that explains the guys that came to the hotel looking for Grimmer. It was surveillance, right? Watching him. They were trying to scare him off, being like, hey, we're watching this guy. Quit getting involved. And he says, in order to follow the movement of the unstable element in the former secret police force of Czechoslovakia. So they say that the surveillance is following the movement of the unstable element in the former secret police of Czechoslovakia. Is that the mom? Because it said, in order to follow the movement of the unstable element. Because then Grimmer's like, secret police. You know, like, Grimmer seems like he'd be well acquainted with such things. He's like, wait, hold on. Why are we getting into this? He says, you know how scary the limitations of free speech. You knew how scary the limitations of free speech were during the Cold War, didn't you? Okay. And what does he say there after that? He says, after the Cold War, they even supplied weapons to extremist groups all over the world for terrorist activities. So he's talking about, like, extremist groups getting weapons for terrorism. Okay. As he's still clipping them damn nails. Ugh. and all the like papers on his desk are so neat and organized, and he has the big map out behind him. Like, the visual elements in this episode are really, really well done to kind of give you an idea of Zeman and how he is, right? They were that kind of group in order to make talks of separation. What do you say there? In order to make talks of separation between Czech and Slovakia go quietly, they went underground without censure. So they were trying to be involved with talks of the separation of Czech and Slovakia. Interesting indeed. He just gets all this exposition to us. Petrov was in contact with that group. So basically, Petrov, all these extremist groups, he was in contact with them, and they were involved with trying to make the talks of the separation between Czech and Slovakia, right? But this unstable movement in the police force. And Grimmer just looks at him like Grimmer's like, well, thanks for the information and thanks for the background. Okay, what do you want me to do with this? And he says he might have sold them the information that he had, as he keeps trimming them damn nails. And that's when he gets it. I cut them too short again. It all being foreshadowing of him torturing Grimmer is so messed up that he took that moment to be like, if you don't give me the info I want, this could be your hand, only much worse. Like, that foreshadowing, I did not see that coming. I didn't see Zeman being like the double agent at first. I was like, oh my God, no. But I thought maybe Zeman was coming to save him and then he was going to get suspicious. But this is the thing with Grimmer too. Grimmer is very, he's very trusting only of certain folk. He tells Tenma quite a lot, because I think he trusts Tenma quite a lot. But he doesn't tell this guy or all the others anything, because he's very suspicious, right? I feel like Grimmer is able to understand that something's not right. Something's going down. Something's rotten in the state of Denmark, and I don't want to talk about it. So he's a very good judge of character, which makes the fact that he told Tenma so much rather interesting. And Grimmer immediately puts that smile on his face. Whenever Grimmer wears a smile, it's fake. Right? It's that smile of, nope, I'm officially done. Bye. Yeah. He barely let his guard down around Tenma, but he keeps that smile up because he has to maintain this persona and maintain this appearance. But he is wary as F, right? You didn't happen to see a woman by any chance, did you? And he's like, a woman? He's like, yeah, Petrov's killer was apparently a young woman. And a fairly attractive one at that. So they knew that she killed him, right? Which they had surveillance. They knew. So they knew, the surveillance knew that, I'm just going to put mom, knew that the mom went in and killed Petrov and left. Now, Grimmer apparently did not see her, which lends me to believe that the mom is part of this secret police, right? Maybe the secret police is referring to Petrov, but I feel like Petrov's not part of the secret police. I think the unstable element in the former secret police of the Czech Republic is the mom. And so I'm like, is she part of that? It would kind of make sense because she's skilled with a gun. She clearly can sneak in and out without being detected. So I'm wondering if she didn't go with Margot Langer because she was part of the secret police and she didn't want Margot to know, and she's like, I can't leave the country, but I want you to get out before things get crazy. So she got Margot out of there and stayed behind. And I wonder if she got pregnant without intending to, and then she just decided to keep the baby that became babies, and that was the case. And then she gave them up because she was part of the secret police and didn't want to take care of them. Wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. But yeah, because the only way, if she were part of a secret police, that would explain why she was a good shot. That would explain why she could get in and out. It would explain why she could get in and out of Petrov's house without being noticed. It would explain, and if they're following through surveillance, it would explain why they knew that she was there and she's the one who killed him. Well, that leads to the question of why kill Petrov? If she's known about Petrov this whole time and could go in and kill him at any moment, why now? Why now? And I feel like the answer to that question is that she wants Grimmer to get the tape. She wants him to get the tape because he will get the tape out of there. Right? I feel like she had to kill Petrov because she knew if Petrov was like on the verge of death, he would maybe tell Grimmer about the key and about the tape and get Grimmer to take the tape and give him the assets to go take it himself. I feel like that was the case. Or she could have tortured him to try to get the information. It didn't work. But it doesn't seem like that. It seems like she came in, killed Anna, killed him, and left. And let it just be. Or maybe she didn't want anybody to find the tape, and she realized that Grimmer was going to out Petrov and get the police involved. So she's like, I'll just kill Grimmer. I'll kill Petrov now, and then he won't tell anybody, and then that'll be the end of it. But Grimmer heard. So then the question is, why didn't she kill Grimmer alongside the others? I think she wants Grimmer to get the tape. I feel like if she didn't want Grimmer to get the tape, she would have killed him with the others. But she didn't. I feel like she wants him to get the tape because she wants the tape to get away from Prague. She knows Grimmer's going to take it away. And if he takes it out, then nobody else can get it. Maybe she does not want them to contact Johann. That's the question. Maybe I'm so curious now what the mom thinks of Noah, Johann, and Nina, if she knows they're even alive, if she has any inkling they're still around. I feel like she does because of the whole tape situation and the whole thing with Kinderheim, but we don't know what she knows. We don't even know if she's actually their mom or not. We have no clue. I'm in assumption mode, and we don't even know who she is, right? I'm just assuming she's Johann's mom, but she may not be. She may be their cousin or something, or just a rando woman. We don't know. And so Grimmer says the children said they saw a woman. He's like, but I didn't see her. And he says, I see. And then Grimmer asks what's going to happen to the kids. And they're like, well, they're going to be taken to random nurseries around. They'll be taken to nursery homes. And he says, I see. And so that's when Zeman says it must have been hard for you to get involved. And he's like, what information were you trying to get from Petrov? And I feel Grimmer's been around the block enough that he knows where this interrogation is going. And he knows what they're trying to find out. And Grimmer's like, I'm not putting down what you're trying to offer me. So, no. He's like, I just found out what you told me. And he's like, I left. He died before I found out. And at the moment where Zeman's like, oh, perfect. It's like he was waiting to see if he could get anything from Grimmer. Was Grimmer going to talk or not? And the moment Grimmer's like, nah, he died just as I was about to find out. He's like, you're not going to tell me. Fine, I'll have my men follow you since I can see this is going nowhere. And he does the perfect, right? Oh, this episode, it's absolutely mystifying, right? And he's like, oh, leave whatever you want. He's like, sorry for holding you so long. And they shake hands like, not a problem. And he's like, is there sure that he didn't tell you anything? And he's like, no. And it's like Zeman, the moment Zeman smiled at him at the end, I was like, oh, damn it, he's not a good guy, is he? Right? When you question whether people smiling are good or evil, that's when you know you're watching Monster. It's just, I feel like that was the last chance. Zeman's like, if you talk now, we maybe won't kill you. But Grimmer's like, I'm not telling you anything. And then the moment that he got in the car, but before that, we have before that the three of them getting in the vehicle and leaving them behind. It's so sad. I hate it. I hate that these boys are separated after being together. Yep, for the Vinofredi nursery. Hansa, Antonin, and Izzy. And Antonin is the one that he confronts. Because, yeah, the thing of it is, Grimmer didn't have to talk to them. What I was afraid of when he was leaning down and talking to Antonin, I really thought the kid was going to smack him. I thought he was going to smack him and be like, our grandpa's dead. But it wasn't Grimmer's fault that he's dead, right? Or, I mean, it wasn't directly his fault. But I felt the kid was going to smack him or do something or like get mad or something, but no. And instead, Grimmer takes this opportunity to say we're going to be separated, but we'll get to play soccer again. We're still under the same sky. And then he's like, cheer up, Antonin. You were the leader, weren't you? You can write letters to everyone. It feels like he's almost speaking in code, right? You can keep him in good spirits. Like he's trying to make the kid feel better, and the kid nods. And that's when he's like, that's it. And he gives him, I'm assuming it's the key, right? I think it's the key that he gives to him. And because the next shot we have after he smiles, like putting the thing in his hand, is a picture of the man with the key in the ignition, and then a shot of Antonin with his fist like that. It's the key. He gave the key to the kid to hold on to until he could get back to him, because he heard the man say what nursery they were going to. Genius. And then Grimmer, because he looks sad, and he's like, okay, I've got rid of the key, so if anything happens, they can't get it on me. I thought this guy was Roberto. I thought the driver of the car was Roberto. I thought they looked like him. I was convinced he hadn't died and he was come to Prague to track him down. I was fully convinced, but no, it's these two goons working for the secret police. I'm like, don't take Ubers. Don't take taxis. Walk. Get a horse. Like, take a train. Do not get by yourself in a vehicle. Do not. Because it's not good. He's like, I need to go to the bank and then the hotel. Yeah, so you get the drop box and then go back to the hotel and leave. Yeah. And he's like, do you speak German or English? And then no, it was so eerie. That entire car chase scene was the eeriest thing. It's like the stuff of nightmares. Like the moment the other guy got in, I was like, get out, jump out of the car. Tenma was like, gotta get out, bye. Like, there was a lot of parallels to Tenma and Grimmer in this episode. Like the car heist for the two guys, except it was Nina and Tenma last time, and this time it's only Grimmer. The basement scene where Tenma was getting beat up by Baby, and in this case it's Zeman and the others beating up Grimmer. The thing of it is, though, the difference is that Tenma was this sweet, innocent summer child when all of that was happening to them, and I think Grimmer's a full-on assassin. So, I feel like there's a major difference there. It's absolutely insane, right? And then he starts to realize that they're going out of their way. And he's like, what are you talking about? And then they beat him up. I kept thinking they were going to kill him. I thought they were going to kill him. Oh, and the guy, when he gets out, like, he clearly got a bloody nose from Grimmer. A troublemaker. And then just the shots when he runs around the corner of the building, the way the camera followed him, and it was like out of a horror movie. And so I kept being like, is somebody going to save him? Is somebody going to shoot those guys? Or I kept in my head being like, I was like, is Tenma going to show up? But Tenma has no freaking clue where they are. And so I was like, well, who else could show up? We don't know anybody that would know Grimmer except Zeman. And so when Zeman comes in, you're like, okay. And he's like, I followed them. You're like, oh, well, thank God. And then the moment he starts interrogating Grimmer, being like, okay, where's the key? And Grimmer's like, what? You realize that Zeman is not our friend. Zeman is not a good person, and he's here to get the key just like the other guys. He's like, yeah, are you hiding anything? And he gives him so many opportunities to talk, but he doesn't. He's like, I need the tape. The audio tape. Oh my God. Just that moment was such a torturous moment. Like, oh, are you freaking kidding me? And then the two guys show up and Grimmer's like, oh my God, they're looking for the roots. The roots of the monster. Ooh, so the group that Zeman's looking for, they want the roots. The roots of the monster. What the fudge? Oh my God, it's terrifying. Yep, the roots of the monster. And Grimmer's like, monster? He's like, we'll know easily once we hear the tape. We'll know exactly where the monster's mother is in the Czech Republic. Yeah, so yes, they're looking for the monster's mother. The monster's mother's location. And they think, I guess Johan tells them that in the tapes. I guess that's a thing. I was like, well, how would you know? That tape's from years ago. Who thinks she's in the same spot more than once? Oh my God. Yeah, him with the damn nail clippers. Nope. So this part's going to be hard to go through. The scariest thing is that Zeman is outside with the duffel bag that Grimmer has, just talking on the phone to the other cops, being like, oh, you got the robbery suspect? Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll be back in time for dinner. Oh, no problem. We just got another case we're working on. Just absolutely terrifying. And then he goes down there, and says, where's the key? I felt so bad for Grimmer because he just gets walloped and he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. The thing of it is, Grimmer has been tortured before. Clearly. He's been tortured. He's gone through this. He knows what happens. And he somehow makes it out. Now the question is the Magnificent Steiner, is it a monster? And is it the monster that comes out of Grimmer that attacks them? Because we have the idea of monsters, right? Does Grimmer have a monster in him? And it comes out when he kills those guys alongside the mom. Because he said that the mom shot the one man in the head, but then another man, it looked like the other two had their heads bashed against the wall. Well, who did that? Did she do that? Or did Grimmer get up and help her and then collapsed, and that's why she spared him, because he saved her? Is that the monster in Grimmer is the Magnificent Steiner, and when he wakes up they're all gone, but he's still there? I don't know. We only know his name is Grimmer, right? He doesn't have a first name, right? We just know it's Grimmer. He's like, I can't give you answers to things I don't know. And he hasn't been in the safe deposit box, so he doesn't know. And he tries to offer him with money, and he's like, well, I'm a third-rate journalist, but I can still eat, so that's not it. He says, your nails are so long. And then, luckily, I'll get through this. I don't want to watch this. He says, I'll cut them too short. Nope. And he asks where the key is. Even if you opened the safe deposit box and got the tape and the documents, you wouldn't be able to use them. Well, why not? Yeah. It only has worth in our organization's hands. So apparently the tape is only good. The tape is only good for the organization. Well, why not? Why can't he listen to it? Why won't it do any good? What do you mean? We're trying, what does he say? We're trying to achieve the resurrection of the Eastern world. So he's talking about resurrecting the Eastern world. Okay. And East Germany, which makes sense there. God, I don't want to watch it. He says the tape has the identity of the monster recorded on it. Which is that is so the identity of the monster. So that bears a very important question then. Because Johann is trying to make it to where he does not exist. Meaning that he does not want to be found. Okay, so the irony is that you have like Baby's group and Zimon's group who want to find Johann to be like the leader of their cults, but Johann doesn't want to be found at all. But I'm like, then disappear. Quit writing messages on towers. Quit killing people. Get out. Leave. Go away. Like, if you don't want to be found, quit messing with people and just go away. You know? I'm like, if Johann just like took off to the Bahamas and left, would people, he's handsome enough, he could probably find a job in the Copacabana and nobody would ever know. I'm like, you don't want to exist and you don't want to be found, but you're being so like obvious, like sometimes. I don't know. I'm like, damn it, Johann. What is Johann's end goal? We don't know. But what the irony is that the group in Czechoslovakia, they don't know who the monster is. They just know the tape will help give them the identity. The irony is the people in Germany that they don't want to interact with know who he is. Wolf and Co. know that it's Johann. They know things about him. But oddly enough, Wolf is all the other ones that would know something have been kind of isolated. It's just Baby and it's just Wolf, but they know who he is. So I'm like, why doesn't Baby just tell, the Czech police who he is and like give him information? It's so funny because you have these two organizations that are seemingly after the same thing thematically, but yet they both are trying to get Johann all to themselves. And if they work together, they could have Johann cornered in an instant, maybe. But that's not the case. So it's fascinating. It's interesting. But yeah, that points to the fact of Johann wanting to be lost. He doesn't want to be found, right? our organization needs that monster. When we have the monster reunification of the graduates of Kinderheim 511 can happen. I'm like, keep on dramatic monologuing, villain. They want to reunite. They want to reunite 511. And that is what gets Grimmer's attention. So again, something happened with this kid in Kinderheim that we need to know about. Because yeah, he has a moment there. He's like, once we have the alumni, the ones who were raised in the former East Germany, to be the communist elite. So they want to get this like super soldier group together to like be a weapon. Like, we're going to reunite all these kiddos that are left that are the communist elite and use them as a fighting force or something, right? And he says, so where's the key? And he says, an elite group. And he just laughs. He's like, they're a bunch of freaking kids that you trained. What do you mean, elite group? He's like, they're all dead. Johann made them kill each other. And I'm like, do they not know that? Do they not know that? Were there survivors? I mean, the Hess guy that Richard ends up killing was from Kinderheim. We know some of the boys from Kinderheim got out before, so what do we do with that? And he says, if you want money, I can understand. I'm a capitalist. I'm just selling the key to make a fortune, but no one would go this far for social justice, so who are you? You said you were a journalist from East Germany, but most of those people are with the foreign intelligence agencies. So you're a spy. Yeah. So he's like, you're working with the Eastern, the fact that he's working with Eastern Germany is fascinating. Was he a spy from West Germany? Like, what's the deal? He's like, is this James Bond? I'm like, it could be. You know, it feels like a Bond movie. And he says, what were your orders? Yeah. And he's like, you're going to die. This is your last chance. And that's when he says, do you know of the Magnificent Steiner? And they're both like, what? And then he says that it's a show that was in West Germany that aired, but was in the 60s. It was a cartoon that aired in West Germany, but you could see it in East Germany. So it was from West Germany, but you could see it in the East. And he said it was from the 60s. So it was not from the time when his kid was around, but it was from the time when he was a kid. Okay. So when he was a kid, he heard about this guy that would like beat up the bad guys and then would wake up and not realize what he'd done. So it's like I blacked out, and then he became this superhero. My theory is that he's actually like a trained assassin, and he like blacks out and kills people and then goes, oh, what happened? Because that's exactly what happened here. I'm pretty sure when he was under the water, they unbound his, he said it was about the main character was a weak and sickly man, but it was an emergency. A secret friend would help him, and the secret friend was actually himself. So saying Grimmer's like, I'm actually a cowardly man. I'm just hiding behind this pacifist, cowardly persona. But underneath all of it is this badass hitman that could kill people that only comes out during an emergency. Like, I know how to do these things. I have my skill set, and I'm not going to bring it out unless I need to. Right? Whenever he's in mortal danger, he would transform. Yep. And they say throw some water on him. And then they make the mistake of untying him. I'm like, the moment they untied him, I'm like, he's going to become the Magnificent Steiner and kill all of them. But that's when the door opens. And they're like, what do you want? And it's her. Yeah, it has to be her. That has to be in the shadows. In the shadows. Oh my God. Yep. Yes. Just like Johann. Just like Johann in the shadows, like on top of the building. Just like it. Oh my gosh, the parallels, the parallels. And there she be. And that moment where she raises the gun up, yeah, you can see the outline of her face. Oh my God. And they're like, what? And then she points the gun at them. And you can see Grimmer watching out of the corner of his eyes. And then she shoots. And he's up against the wall. And yep, it shows the one guy's face like bashed against, like his neck was snapped and he was bashed against the ground, and the other guy was bashed up against the wall with his neck snapped. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Grimmer helped her and he just didn't realize it. It was the Magnificent Steiner. Okay. He says a woman came in. And then the thing about it is Grimmer, the fact that he gets up and grabs his bag and just leaves like it's nothing, takes the car and goes back to the hotel like it was nothing. Like, he's been in this situation before. He's been in a similar situation before. You cannot convince me otherwise. And he's trying to figure out who the woman was. Who's the woman? Why was she helping me? One shot with the head, but the other two dead bodies didn't have bullet wounds. And we see the one guy's like head up against the ground, and the other guy's was bashed against there. And then he just blinks, and he holds his hands up. His hands are covered in blood. And the question is the blood on his hands from them taking the nails? Or is it from him killing them? And he just, staring at his hands with all the blood on them. And he's smiling. Was it the Magnificent Steiner? The fact that he smiles about it. Grimmer is such an interesting character because it's as if Grimmer's character fully embraces the idea of, I'm going to do this thing because I have to survive, and I'm not going to think twice about it because it's what has to happen. But I'm only going to do it in emergency situations only. Because, he could have tortured Petrov. He could have killed Petrov to get the information. Absolutely. But did he do it? No. He was whittling him down until he would break, right? But he wasn't trying to hurt him physically. He just wanted to get the information they needed. And he ended up getting a lot more than he bargained for. But Grimmer strikes me as a guy that resorts to violence as a very last resort. Like, I will only do it if I am about to die, and half the time I black out and I don't realize that I did it. But then when he wakes up, he's like, well, I would have died otherwise, so guess I'm still here. Oh my God. I feel like the woman got out of there, but why did she go save him? Was she just trying to make sure that the tapes... Was she testing Grimmer to see that if he would tell them the location of the tape or not? And once he didn't, she realized, okay, I can trust you. I feel like her goal is to not let the organization get a hold of the tape because they'll learn about her, and she doesn't want that. But I feel like at first she probably didn't want him to get the information either, but now she's realizing, well, you can get the information out of here, and then that makes my job easier. Maybe. Oh my God. I didn't think at this point in the series... I thought that it was all going to be Tenma focused forever and we weren't going to have to worry about new characters and insane torture and all this stuff, but Monster. I can see why you all were excited for me to get to these episodes because I love Grimmer and the adventures of the Magnificent Steiner so far. Stein means stone. Right, because I have a family name that has the word Stein in it. I'm like 40% German, so I'm a Euro mutt. Mm-hmm. Basically, I'm like German, Dutch, French, English, every European. Basically, I don't know, like one side of the family is from Holland, one side's from France, one side's from England, and one side's from Germany. So it's just like this Euro mutt is basically me. But yeah, one of the family names has the word Stein in it, which means stone. So interesting. So yeah, I'm curious to know your thoughts down below. I'm super excited for episode 43 now. I don't know if I'll be able to wait for comments, but I probably will. So I'll probably wait for comments for the next episode and see if any stand out and see what all you have to say about Grimmer. So in the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back very soon with more Monster. Bye!